And I am done. All right. Let's get off that annoying overlay. Boom. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Ooh, there's a lot of people here. That's awesome. And a lot of comments to catch up to. Probably a lot of saying hi, which is awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is my 10,247 sub celebration stream. Thanks for joining. Hope you all are having an awesome Sunday. Mine is going pretty good. Not awesome. Started out good, but then the kids did not get enough sleep last night, so they've been acting absolutely insane all day. But they're gone now. they're gone. Not forever, just for like an hour or two. So I got that going. All right, let's check out these comments. Thanks so much, everybody. And thanks so much for all the support. I've been truly shocked at the amount of people that have subbed onto this stream. I almost feel like someone is messing with me, or they're like putting bots on my stream or something, because I don't quite conceive of how that's possible. I had this goal of getting like 500 subs by the end of the first year, and we're a little bit over a year. I started like mid-March of last year, and here we are. So still waiting for that, like hitting the peak, and then I'm just not going to get any subs anymore. So always shocked that it keeps on going, and you all are responsible for it. So thank you so much. Let's check out some of these comments. Hit me up with any comments, any questions. Does not have to be book relevant. Doesn't have to be relevant to anything. Hopefully you guys can hear my voice. Can you hear my voice? Somebody tell me you can hear my voice, if you can. I think you can. My guess is yes. Anyways. All right, let's start at the top. Got a lot of what's up. What's up, Don? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, man? Safina, the happiest YouTube commenter of all time. The most consistently. I know if I make a video, Safina's going to chime in and say, happy reading to me. I like it. I say it to everybody. I deserve it back myself. So thanks a bunch. Armin, congrats on 10K. Well deserved. May you gain more and more subs soon. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's giving that flirty side eye. Yeah, that's actually how I got my wife. So look out. Armin, what book are you reading? I am reading Forge of the High Mage. This is a Malazan book by the lesser known of the Malazan authors. I am super excited reading. I like it so far. I'm about, I don't know, can you see? Most of the way. Got about another 24 hours or so of reading, then I'll be done with that thing. It's good. Probably like a 4 stars. Not quite as good as the last 2, but it's good. I like it. I'm not happy that I have to read a physical book, though. These books don't come out in the US, where I'm from, for another like 6 months. Malazan books do that. They're always released in the UK 6 months early, so I can't get them. So thankfully, the publisher sent me a copy of the book. But man, I didn't realize how much of a Kindle prude I've become over time, because I hate everything about physical books. I guess they smell cool. I guess I got that going for it, but it's heavy. I can't. I have this like Kindle like holder that I have on my. I have like a recliner, and then I have this holder that holds a Kindle in front of my face, and then I have like a Kindle clicker. So I just relax and click. I can't do that here. I have to like work out with my arms. I forgot how weak I am. There's no progress bar. Can't look up words. Can't bookmark stuff without writing my book. Sucks, man. Everything about it's lame. And then I can't work out because I work out at night when my kids are asleep on my elliptical, and I do that because I'm reading when I do it, and I can sit my Kindle there, but I can't like do an elliptical while I'm reading a book. So I've not been working out. That's my excuse. Not only 10K, you're already 10.2. Yeah, 10.2. I'm getting there. All right. His reading room gets great sun, gotta say. Yeah, although this is not my reading room. This is actually my wife's office. I am using it. I use it to record, but she makes about 1 million times more than I do on my YouTube channel, so I'm considering this her office. I read upstairs in my reading chair or outside. I like to read outside if I can, which also gets good sun. Sleeping with the eyes open. That's how I roll. Look, he's got quite a few pages left. This will take a while. Yeah, not finishing the book. I feel like he has an iPad hidden by the book. Could just be me. No iPad. I'm an Android man. Maybe he's being coy reading the comments. I did not. All right, let's see. I could not read on camera in front of 40 people watching me. To be fair, I did not know how many people were watching me when I was reading. All right, what do we got here? All right, Fancy Fanatic. one of the earliest subscribers to my channel. Thanks, man. Congrats on the 10K. Here's the many more. Thanks. And congrats on your first place so far in the TBR contest. The fact that I already know that you are, I think you think I was going to get a 5 on this one, but it's not. So looks like you're moving down to second place. Let's go. My book is lit. Thanks, bro. You're so nice. You already give me money on the Patreon. Appreciate the little toss. That'll be useful in telling my wife that I should do more of these things, because I'll be like, look, I wasn't wasting my time. I was earning solid money. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's super nice. What's up, Dark Rider? How you doing? Book Reading Billy. Congrats on reaching the milestone. Thanks, man. If you guys are not subbed to Book Reading Billy, he's got a sweet YouTube channel. He deserves more subs. You should check him out. Hey, Matt, glad you enjoyed Sunnier so far. Can't wait for you to read Howling Dark. Yeah, I can't read. Where's Howling Dark in the series? Am I coming up next? Because I'm going to be reading the next one. In the first book I'm going to be reading in June is going to be the next one. Is that Howling Dark? I'm excited. What's up, Michael? Another super frequent commenter. How's it going? Congrats to you. 20K celebration next month. No, the growth on my channel is not, it's not logarithmic. It's not even linear. It just kind of bounces around. I don't know if I'll get to 20K as fast as I got to 10K, because I got some random videos that entered the algorithm that super helped me out, and you can't predict that stuff. And I don't really make the content that would get me a ton of subs. I realized that I've gotten a lot of subs, but book reviews are not where it's at. And book reviews is my bread and butter. I love book reviews. I like to review every book that I read, and that's like 100 videos a year. It's those other videos. So, and I don't know. I feel like I'm going to do less and less of like the top 10 lists and stuff. You guys are bored of that. You're just going to hear the same stuff over and over again. Like, I'll do like updates on a yearly basis, but book reviews is where I'm at. Black and Blue Collar Reader, congrats. Thanks, man. Another awesome YouTube channel you guys should check out. Congrats, Matthew. Thanks, Mom. The only person that calls me that. What's going on with Chelsea? Dude, don't even talk about that. What's going on with Chelsea is that I'm now committed to getting ready for the football season, the American football season, so I can watch a team that is actually going to do well. Go Niners. Hey, Matt, what's your favorite type of cheese? Favorite type of cheese? That's quite the question. I like a lot of cheeses. I'd say Jarlsberg is the most frequently eaten cheese in my house, even though it costs way more money than the rest of the cheeses. But I like to throw a good Jarlsberg on my sandwiches. Your bookshelves doesn't seem to hold that many books. What do you do with the spares? I don't read physical books. I read Kindle books. I do get a lot of books sent to me. I keep them up top. So those are the books up there that get sent to me. And I'm going to just move those to my office because I have a bookcase in my office that doesn't have anything in it. But yeah, I just put them up there. And if I get more books, there's a little room. Like I have these books that are like facing the cover, and I'll just move those in. Really, they're only facing there not to look cool. They're facing there to make it look like it's full, which it's not. Any plan to read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell? I've never even heard of that. What you talking about? Let me know. Should I read Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings or reread A Song of Ice and Fire? You should for sure read Way of Kings. I love Way of Kings. It's sitting, I'm going the wrong way. Right about where? There? I think that's Way of Kings right there. It's awesome. I love it. Check it out, man. But then reread A Song of Ice and Fire. I've reread A Song of Ice and Fire like 3 times. I love it. What do you think about Forge of the High Mage? It's good. It's different than I expected. It's not, no, although all Esmont books are different than I expected. It's just going in some random directions. I thought we were going to go one way. We went another way, but I'm liking it. It makes me really want to reread Malazan, Book of the Fallen, though. Not because it's bad. Just like I keep thinking about it on how badly I want to reread that. And like if I didn't have have a YouTube channel, I would probably be rereading Malazan right now. But like, I have so many books I want to read and so many books people want me to read. And I'm like in the middle of so many series. But I need to get that reread done because I keep thinking about it over and over again. And I need to do it. All right. What's up, Matt? Patron here. Loving what you do. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You're awesome. Super appreciate the support. How fast do you read in words, pages per minute? I read, let's check out the old reading spreadsheet. It kind of depends on the book. I don't have a words per minute. I know words per day, but that doesn't really tell you the answer to your question. I like to assume that I'm going to read a page every minute and a half in general, if that answers it. You're a Niner fan? What'd you think of the draft? I am a Niner fan. I didn't watch the draft for my first time in forever because the Niners don't really have any high-end picks. They only drafted at the end of the third round. It's cool. Kicker picking first is never exciting, but we needed a kicker. I don't know. The Niners are just a good team that didn't really need to draft very much. And the Niners draft's kind of stuck always because the Niners draft for the next year. Like, they don't really play rookies unless they're Nick Bosa. So you're drafting to see who's going to be playing a year away, basically. Here's to 100K more. Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know if my kind of content will ever get me 100K. That's just not that kind of guy. What's the temperature like out west? So friggin' hot and muggy already in Dallas. It's nice. And hey, what's up? Discord member there. If you guys have not joined the Discord, you're missing out. I would love you guys to join. The Discord is a sweet place, and people like this make it even more awesome. But the weather's awesome. It's like 75 degrees right now. Just went on a walk, a nature walk, and my son fell. He's 4. He tripped and fell about 2 steps into the walk and then had a meltdown, like an epic meltdown. So I sat in the car while my wife and daughter got to go on a fun nature walk. So good for them. They came back with a lot of wildflowers. So it's nice, though. Got greetings from Kuwait. Nice. That's awesome. I'm always surprised by people that do not live where I live. Watching from Iran. Dude, hit me up with all these random locations. That's awesome. Not random. I mean, like, not where I'm from. Question. What made you start a Booktube channel? I started a Booktube channel because I wanted somebody to have a Booktube channel like mine, and no one really had it other than Brian Lee Durfee, and he didn't really do exactly what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted somebody to make a channel where they reviewed books and you got to see their reaction without any prep. And I'm just so sick, and I love everybody that does this, no offense, but like, as a watcher of Booktube, I was just kind of sick to death of everyone doing these scripted or heavily edited videos where they like clearly read the book a while ago and are just like compiling their thoughts. And I wanted something more raw. And I knew that I had it in me to do that kind of thing. I mean, I do a lot of public speaking for my day job. That's my kind of jam. And so I thought, I read a ton of books, and I also wanted people to do more book reviews. And I know that I read, on average, like a book every 2 or 3 days. And so I was like, it'd be fun to be a channel that came out with a book review, 3+ times a week, and just talk, just let me know your thoughts. And so I got my hands on an early release of Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. And I thought this is a great time to start because maybe that'll kickstart my booktubing a little bit, because people will like search for that and they'll see my review first. And so I decided to just flip on the camera and get going. Good question, though. Matt, you're my bookish hero and cool and likable dude in general. Greetings from Croatia. Awesome. I'll remind my kids that somebody thinks I'm cool, because they don't. What music genre do you prefer? Okay, great question. I prefer audiobooks. I don't listen to music. I stopped listening to music like 5 or 6 years ago, and the only music I listen to is like Disney hits when my kids are in the car. And my daughter's gotten into like Taylor Swift and teeny bopping kind of stuff. And so whenever she's in the car, I blast that because I love when my kids sing. And whenever my son's in the car, I'm listening to like Disney like songs, like from like Encanto and stuff like that. So I guess that's what I prefer because I love my kids singing and I play whatever will get them to do that. Congrats. So happy for you. Thanks. Appreciate it, Safina. I've been afraid and reluctant to start Malazan. Yeah, it's a little scary, but if you pull up there's like this PowerPoint that you can read while you're reading it, and it totally solves the problem of being like afraid. It like holds your hand and doesn't spoil anything. If you want the link to that, hit me up in my Discord channel, and I'd be happy to give it to you. What's that yellow book behind you with the guy in the sun? For some reason, Hyperion comes to mind. It is called 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐥, I think. It's called 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐚𝐥, and it was the only book that got sent to me from an author that I didn't ask for that I proudly display because it's beautiful. It's like written by these two authors that are actually like artists. So the whole book is like this beautiful hardcover full of amazing artwork. It's just awesome. I haven't read it. I don't read books that people send to me unless I ask for them because I just don't have time. I tell people that before they send them. I always warn them, I'm not going to read it. I will share it in my videos, but I will not read it. And I will not read this one, but I think it's really, really good looking. Sup, individuals. Sup, individual. Love for you show a sneak peek of your reading area one time. Yeah, I'll do that. I actually took a picture of it one time, and I put it on my community tab on my YouTube channel. But I may do a video or something sometime. But yeah, check out the community tab of my YouTube channel, and if you scroll down like a month or two back, you'll see a little picture of it. Matt, do you write too, or just a pure reader? I write press releases for my boss, and I write op-eds where I pretend like I am him. But that's it. I don't write. I don't like writing when I can avoid it. I'm not a good writer, and I write really like fact informative based. I don't have like a lot of ideas either. Like you'll never see me making a book. I love reading. I hate writing. Always hated it. Was I in first place? Cool. Yeah, you're in first place, I think. I can't really open it right now, but I think you're in first place. There's a lot of people in first place, so don't get too all up in it. Let me look. For those that are not aware, I have like this TBR contest every month. Like I've had it one time. Are you on there? Yeah, you're up there. You got them all. And people can predict what I'm going to score things. And if you get the top, like first, second, or third place, then you get a point. And if you get 2 points, you get to pick a book for me to read. So join that next month if you're not already in. And in the Discord, hate to keep pumping that up, but if you're in the Discord, you can follow along with the results live every time I finish a book. Yes, Howling Dark is next. Wow, I'm really far behind on this. Sorry, everybody. But awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I have like 3 more weeks to go. Really loving the channel. You were lukewarm on the stand. Yes, that is true. Could a part have been it? It's a huge book and you were doing it via Audible. Jenny, you're curious if that factors in. I don't think so. I thought the audiobook narration was really good. My problem was not that. It's the fact that, and I feel this out of all of the Stephen King books I've read so far, and I've read 3 of them, that they're good, and then he just doesn't really know how to end them. And in this case, it was really bad, in my opinion. I hated the ending, and not just the ending, like it just kind of dragged. And like I understand the appeal of Stephen King now. He's not for me. I'll probably try some more stuff. I'm going to do the next Dark Tower book. I hope that kind of brings me back on board. But if I don't like the next Dark Tower book, then I'm done with Stephen King unless anybody picks one for me in the Patreon picks. Like every month there's a raffle and a Patreon pick can win. I think It is in there, and I think Pet Cemetery is in there. And if either one of those win, then I'll read it. But he just writes he's like the antithesis of like Brandon Sanderson, where he doesn't plan anything out. He just kind of rambles, and he doesn't understand like where he's going. He just writes, and like good for him. It's a style. It's not for me. Congrats, Matt. Well deserved. Thanks. Appreciate it. Should I move on to Ruin by John Gwynne or start Jade City after I finish Valor? Well, you should read both. If you're the kind of person that likes to, If you easily forget stuff, then move straight to Ruin. If you are okay like mixing in your books and you feel like you've got a good memory, then do Jade City, because they're both wonderful in my opinion. About halfway through Fool's Fate and enjoying it a lot, but I'm ready to get my soul ripped out in the second half. Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Have you read Dune? I have. I listened to the audiobook about 10 years ago, and it was awesome. The audiobook narration in particular, I don't know if it was like the copy that I got, but it was like a full graphic audio where every actor had a different voice actor and there were all these sound effects. It was like a play, and it was so cool. I really liked it. I would say in retrospect, I'd probably give it like a 4.5. It was really good. It's old. It feels old, but the world building is just amazing. You know, I've always said that good world building for me is when it gets stuck in your brain. And Dune is still stuck in my brain. I think about it from time to time. Just hearing the word Dune, I have all this imagery showing up in my head. And yeah, so I thought the world building was so good. Everything else about it was like mid-grade for me. Although the plot I thought was fun, although the ending just felt rushed. I should pick it up again. Although I've heard a lot of mixed things about future books in the series. I feel like what I keep hearing from people is like the first few books are good and then it falls off a cliff. But I should probably read the next one. Ruin's fantastic. If you read Ruin, you're going to want to read Wrath instantly. That's true. Matt, what about your bookshelf tour soon? I've done one, actually. Although, like, I don't have a big... This is all my books. I do audiobooks. And so in a lot of the books there, you can't really see them there, but they're my wife's, like, psychology books. She's a therapist. Or, like, these how to be a good parent books that you can't really see there. But they're hiding in there that I don't think you care about. Let's see. I'm about to finish Era 1 Mistborn. Awesome. As my first fantasy series, I was wondering if you have any recommendation for what series I should read next. I think that depends on a lot of things, but I will say in general that if you really liked Mistborn and you want to get something a little more advanced, but by the same author, then move to Stormlight Archive. I feel like that's a good, if you like Mistborn, that's a great one to jump into. And clearly it's by the same author. It's got the same style. All right. Matt is on the Mike Books review trajectory. Booktube obviously loves It's Some Bald Men. Fill in that niche of bald men on Booktube. All right. You should do Ship or Rip, where you choose 2 random characters' names from a hat and decide whether you ship them together or rip up the paper. Yeah. I don't know if that's my kind of video, but that's kind of funny. I like the fact that the word ship is in there. Well done, Matt. Congratulations and your honesty with your views. Thanks, man. Matt, what's your favorite movie? Probably The Godfather Part 2. Love it. Although I'm kind of boring. I don't really watch a lot of TV. Don't watch movies. I used to. Not anymore. Congrats. Thanks a bunch. I think that people want more of the review channels now than before. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a pendulum shift. I don't know how far it's going to swing, but originally there were like a ton of book reviews, and then people realized over time that those don't sell. And if you want to make a career out of this, which I don't, you have to switch. You have to go to something unique, and that's going to get a lot of viewers. And book reviews are not where it's at. I mean, if you looked at my top like 20 most viewed videos, there might be like 1 review in there, and it's closer to 20 than 1. But now, like, I feel like there's so much of the other stuff that people are kind of desperate for the review stuff. But, it probably gets you subs, but it's not going to get you views. It's not going to really boost the channel that much, or definitely not line your pocket. You're one of the only booktubers who puts out reviews of individual books, and I'm so here for that. Thanks. That is what I'm going for. That's why I'm doing this thing. I'm 50% into Valor. It's so good. And I like that you're a Kindle reader, clearly. Or you're just really good at knowing specifically where you're at in a book. DNF, J. Strange, Mr. Norrell, couldn't handle prose. What is it? I've never even heard of it. What Kindle would you recommend for somebody who's never used one? The Paperwhite. The new Paperwhite is a good entry point. It's not very expensive. If you know if you have a library near you, or you know how to do the library game, then it'll pay for itself real quick. I mean, I haven't paid for a book outside of the odd ones that I can't get my hands on. I've probably spent $50 on books over the past 2 years. And that's like 250 books read. I've probably spent $50. So the Kindle just saved me so much money. But you got to know how to hit up the library game. I mean, in my state in California, there's a law that anybody that lives in California can subscribe to any library in the state, but you have to physically go there in person to get your card. And so I am a member of my library. I found out that there's a reciprocal agreement between my library and 3 of the surrounding systems. So that's 4 systems I'm a part of. And then whenever I travel somewhere in the state, I always stop and get a library card. So I've got like 15 library cards. And then I've got this extension on my computer called, Library Extension. And very unique name. And so it hooks up to Goodreads and Amazon. So whenever I'm on Goodreads or Amazon and I look up a book, in the side panel, it'll show me all the libraries I'm a part of and where all the books are available. And so like 100% of the time the book's available. And I just pick the library it's at. I'm like, oh, San Diego Library has it. Cool. And then I put it on my Kindle and I'm good to go. So I feel like I got the cheat code to free books, which is great for me because I read a lot. I was spending like $1,500 a year on books, and that was crazy. Congrats. How do you manage to read so many books a month? I read a lot. I read an hour when I wake up. I read an hour throughout the day somewhere, like lunch, here and there. I read an hour at night, and I listen to audiobooks randomly throughout the day. And when I'm playing video games, most of the time I'm listening to an audiobook, unless it's a game that I can't really focus on if I'm listening to audio. But I try to play video games that allow me to listen to an audiobook at the same time, like simple stuff. Should I read Stormlight Archive without reading Warbreaker? Yeah, totally. Read the first 2 Stormlight Archive books, and then read Warbreaker, and then read the 3rd one. And then you'll be knowing everything you need to know in the right order. Maybe a top 10 Grimdark books. Yeah, although I feel like I need to read more Grimdark books. I feel like my top 10 Grimdark books would be the 10 Grimdark books I've read. So I need to do that. Or like even worse, there'd be some on there that I really don't like. So I need to read some more, but it's a good suggestion. Jonathan Strange Smith's Neural is a really great literary historical fiction fantasy book. I think you'd like it, just standalone. Cool. I'll check it out. Remind me about that on Discord, Dunn, and I'll throw it on my Goodreads. Crazy that I read slower than you, and you read like 40 pages an hour at the pace, and someone like Brian Lee Durfee reads 100 pages an hour. Yeah, I don't. I try not to read too fast. I mean, I like to soak in what I'm reading, and I like to not be stressed about having to reread passages. I also have 2 little kids at home that are crazy, and a wife that likes to talk a lot, and so I get distracted a lot when I read, and that's okay. But I can't read that fast, that long, because I'm going to get something that drives my attention away. Always. 10K is too few subs. Appreciate it. Feels like a lot, but see where you're coming from. Do you think the A Song of Ice and Fire books would be better fit for me since I couldn't get into Game of Thrones due to its slow pace? The show intrigues me, but it just feels beyond slow for me. Yeah, I mean, the show is the books, but yeah, I mean, let's see. It'll take you about as long to read one of the books as it would the show. I didn't feel like the books or the show were slow. I was wrapped up in them like crazy. Although I will say that the book doesn't pick up the pace until the end of the first book, and then it doesn't let out the gas. So if you never like made it past that first season, then I can see why you feel that way. But if, I feel like they're not slow. So the 4-year-old one for sure. Reading Agile Sin, regards from Portugal. Regards, man. I don't know that book. What is it? Most of the book two definitely feels a bit sterile. Yeah, it does. How many hours a day do you read? I think I covered that. How many pages a day? How many words a day? I can answer both those questions on my old spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet says that this year I am reading 33,178 words per day out of books, which is 107.7 pages, and 13,167 audio words a day, which is 42.7. So whatever 107.7 plus 42.7 is how much I read right now a day. As a Packers fan, your 49ers have hurt my heart repeatedly. Yeah. My best friend, like from childhood, is a Packers fan, and he got the better of things as we were growing up, but now I got it good. Don't be afraid. Yeah, good advice. Congrats on 10K. Thanks so much. Favorite way to read? Ebook all the way, and audio. I prefer ebook. I mean, I don't like audiobooks as much as ebooks. I read them because I like them more than music, but I have to be careful about the audiobooks I listen to. I only listen to books that are a little more simple because I'll get lost. I'm doing stuff when I'm not just sitting there doing nothing. I'm doing something, and so I need something basic. But yeah, much prefer Kindle to everything else. Matt, did you watch Dune Part 2? I did not even watch Dune. I'm so bad. Like, I don't watch TV and movies. Like, it's so, unless it's a Disney movie, which is just for my kids, or the Mario movie, or like something animated. I don't really watch it. I just don't. I feel like such a prude. It's like no judgment on anybody, but like I just much prefer a good read. Like, if I'm thinking about it, like, would I rather go watch Dune, or would I rather go read the first 100 pages of Dune? I'd rather read it. So like, what am I doing watching it? I just don't like my content like that. That's how I am. As a Bears fan, nobody can hurt me anymore. Yeah. Although you guys got us good last year. Do you watch any TV shows? Not really. The TV shows I watch are those that I watch with my wife. And so we both together watch Survivor. And that's for me, because I've always watched Survivor. I've watched every episode of every season of every country, basically. I mean, I watch American. I watch Australian. I love me some Survivor. And then she likes The Bachelor. So I watch all the Bachelor related shows. I've never heard of Kevin Anderson. Love you, man. Love you too, man or gal, whatever you may be. I read The Stand as a book, and it was like 400 pages too long. Yeah. Like, everybody told me, including my brother. My brother doesn't recommend books to me very often, but he told me to read The Stand. And everyone said the same thing. It's like, read the original version. Don't read the one that's like 500 pages shorter. I feel like I would have liked the 500 page shorter one more. A lot. I wanted him to stay for this year. Wanted to take that belt back. What you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. How excited are you for Cradle of Book 12? Excited, but worried, because I didn't really like Book 11. And Book 11 was the first one that I felt that way about, other than like the first couple. And so I'm worried that it's going to flub the ending. I have this worry about books like this and video games like this, because I'm a big video game guy. I play a lot of video games, still do. And that whenever I play these games where you get overpowered, like, I like the building up to power stage. But once I'm overpowered, I'm kind of not interested anymore. And I'm worried that that's where we're at with Cradle. But I am excited. Very excited, but not quite as much as I was 6 months ago. How many times have you read the full Malazan? I've only read it once. And that's a shame, because I really, really, really want to read it again. If I didn't love Faithful and the Fallen, would I probably not enjoy Bound and the Broken? I don't enjoy fantasy that is too much battling. You seem to love heavy fantasy. I do love that. I can't speak for Bound and the Broken because I've only read the first one. But I will say that the first Bound and the Broken did feel very Faithful and the Fallen to me. Now, I have heard from others that the first book does that, and then it diverges. So you'll have to get advice from somebody that's finished it. But they feel very similar to me. Yeah, I'm listening to the Dune audio as well. I think the Baron is James Earl Jones. He is, I think. That's what I agree with you. And James Earl Jones has got a very distinctive voice. But yeah, it's a fantastic audio. I'm listening to Swan Song, very similar to The Stand, and maybe a bit too copy, but much better in my opinion. I've heard that. I've heard really good things. All right. Congrats, Matt. Well deserved. I can't wait to see what the next year brings. What did you think of your Niners draft? Good. Good. Not too much to expect out of low draft picks, but the Niners always hit late in the draft. And so you never know where it's going to be. But we're 5th round. We get some studs. Every time I sit down and watch a movie, I just think to myself, I'd rather read a book. Yep. You'll find me often reading a book while my family's watching a movie. And they can't understand it. Like, they truly, none of them understand it. But you all know what I'm talking about. Hey, Matt, wish I could hang around longer, but busy at the moment. Wanted to drop by and say you're awesome and congrats on the 10K. You should stream more. Thanks so much, John. If you guys haven't read John's book, Trials of Ashmount, check it out. I read it recently. I liked it a lot. It deserves more attention. It's really good. I like doing streams. I also like reading. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, let me just do a bunch of streams. But I don't really have a lot of time for it. I mean, I'm doing it right now because I got 10K and I told my wife I want to do it. But in general, like on the priority of my life, like I'd rather hang out with my family. And so because I'm West Coast, I can't really stream on weekdays because when my kids are in bed, it's usually like when they're fully asleep, it's like 9 p.m. Or like 8:30. And by then, most people are asleep or like, especially if you're in like Europe and stuff, like nobody's up at that time. So weekends are where I can do it. And then weekends in the middle of the day is time when I'm hanging out with my family. So it's hard for me to find time for it. Kenneth, love your reviews. I think you're very thorough and reasonable with them. Any chance you could take a look at The Spear Cuts Through Water? Maybe. Never heard of it before. Have you read Hunger Games? I have not. I did watch the first movie with my wife. It was cool. Yeah, cool. Although I'm not a YA guy. Although I didn't, like, it's clearly YA. It's like I feel like a lot of people, it's like a hallmark of YA, but it didn't feel super YA to me, but probably not going to read it. What story do you want to see adapted into live action? I want to see Gentlemen Bastards. I want to see Lives of Locke Lamora in live action because I feel like it could easily be done. There's not a lot of magic in it. I feel like I would love to see something like a Stormlight Archive. I just don't know that we're going to get something with that much CGI and make it good. So like when I think about the ones that would be really good, I think about like what would not need a lot of CGI. I feel like The First Law is in that category also, which would be probably stellar as a TV show. So I want to see a Gentlemen Bastards movie, and I want to see a First Law TV show. Real bad. When do you plan on continuing The Bound and the Broken? I am going to be reading The Bound and the Broken. I have a spreadsheet here that tells me everything. It's public if you ever want to see it. I'm going to be reading The Fall, which is a short little thing on around June 23rd. And then I will be reading Of Darkness and Light in September. No, August. That's when. Oh God, my name is YouTube user. How weird. What's up, YouTube user? Good job getting that name. How did you get into your political career? Starting out as a volunteer? No, I ran for mayor of my town. It was like not a real thing. It was like honorary mayor. So I was honorary mayor of my town when I was 18, and I got my name in the newspaper. And there was a campaign, a big campaign in town going on at that time where the person was supposed to win. Like in my town, if you get over 50% of the vote in the primary, you win. And there were 3 candidates, and one candidate was supposed to get over 50%, but they didn't. They ended up getting first place, but under 50%. And it went on to the general election. So the campaign consultant was so upset at the staff that he fired them all. And the day he fired them, he saw my name in the paper. So he called me and said, do you want to work on this campaign? I said, sure. And ever since then, I got hooked. 15 library cards. Goals. Yeah. Yeah. I love library cards. I had Kindle Oasis and it bricked within a year. Whoa. Battery life sucked too, but I suspect that was the units issue alone. Bought new paperweight and can't complain. Missed the hardware buttons there. Yeah. I could see the buttons being useful, although I use this like Kindle. So when I read my Kindle, a lot of the time I'm sitting in a chair and I have like a holder. And so I have this clip you put on the side, and then it comes with like a little clicker. So I'm not touching my Kindle. It's just like hovering in front of my face and I'm clicking it with a button. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I had the buttons only. So I wouldn't really use the buttons very much. Why do most of Booktube avoid including a spoiler section in the videos? I would love to hear your full reviews on the Dandelion Dynasty. I can only speak personally. And for me, it's a decision about who's going to watch my videos. So like, if I were to do a spoiler video, the only people who are going to be interested in watching that video are those who have already read that book, which is a very small proportion of my readers. Now, if I were to do a non-spoiler review, all of those who've read it and all of those who haven't read it can still get enjoyment out of it. Now, my main mission in my videos is to try to inform people so that they can make a good decision on whether they should read a book or not. And so spoiler videos aren't really fulfilling that goal. Now, I could maybe start doing, the last few minutes of a review, switching over to a spoiler discussion. I've toyed with that idea before. I've not thrown it out, but that's the main decision. I mean, already review videos are not getting a lot of views, and like to slash that even further just seems like not a great thing. Do you have a regular job? What do you do? Yeah, I do. I'm a chief of staff to a politician is my job. I have both generation Oases and both are going strong. Nice. Reading Dragonfly, following the second book in the Shadows of the Apt. The only one of those I've heard of is Shadows of the Apt, and it is on my TBR. Not for this year, but I will eventually get to it. What video game is your favorite? I think my favorite all-time video game is Dwarf Fortress. It's certainly the game that I put the most time into. But like up there with it is Crusader Kings 2 and 3. I've dumped an obscene amount of time into those games. I like strategy games a lot. I'm not as big of a linear fan. I'd say of games that came out more recently, I loved Witcher 3 was big for me. Dumped in so much time in that. And then old school, I'm a big Nintendo guy. So any Mario game I've obsessed over. Mario Odyssey recently, absolutely over the moon for it. What's the next series you're most excited to start? Next series I'm excited to start, I would say, looking at my list real quick, I don't have any that are right over around the corner. I just realized I have Black Tongue Thief on my list twice. I need to cancel that out. I am excited to start Black Tongue Thief. But that's weird that I had that on twice. I don't know. Let me look at my future list. You know what I'm going to say is, it seems weird, but Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'm really excited to start. It's kind of niche, but I'm excited for it. Got any concerns going to create? Yeah, big ones. I mentioned it before, but I'm worried it's not going to stick the landing. Stand It way overrated, and that Christian propaganda was overkill for me. Gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I'm not big into Christian propaganda themes in my books. I like religious themes in my books because I feel like they can be played in fun ways. Like The Faithful and the Fallen, played with a lot of religious themes. Loved it. I mean, 5 Warrior Angels, absolutely loved it. Just didn't love this one. Is your wife helping you pick questions? No, I'm doing it myself. My wife is off with the kids at working out. So we joined a athletic club. So she goes and works out, and they have like a daycare. So the kids get to go play. It's me, class. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hello. Started reading Malazan yesterday on chapter 4 now. Last time I DNF'd halfway through chapter 1. Check out the PowerPoint. If you don't know where it is, hit me up in Discord. Happy to give it to you. But it's super, super necessary. Can I reading 100 pages per hour like Brian and still keeping some story in my memory? It's Superman speed. Yeah, I don't get it. I obviously it's possible. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not retaining what he's getting. I believe that he is. It's just not how I read. Can you talk me through how Goodreads works and why I would want to be a part of it? And did you say you get most of your books for free via the library? How does it work? So I mentioned the library piece. If you're still confused, hop on Discord. I'll walk you through it. How does Goodreads work? So for me, I think there's two ways Goodreads works. One of them is on the reader side. So if you're big into reading and you like building a TBR out, what happens is like if you see books that you like, you click on "Will Read Eventually," and then it just makes an awesome list, and you can have a nice, easy to read list of books that you want to read. So like whenever you're done with a book and you want to go to a next one, you can look at your list and pick one that you want to read. On the reviewing side, it's really cool making reviews for books and getting some feedback. That's where my foray into this whole like dynamic between people worked on the internet is I made Goodreads reviews, and I kind of just cheated the system a little bit. I like added a ton of friends, so then they would add me back, and then I had a bunch of people that read my reviews, and then I got, a bunch of people reading my stuff, and so that's fun too. Why do I want to sync Goodreads with Kindle? You want to sync Goodreads with Kindle if it's important to you to have a backlog of all the books that you've read and the ratings for them. I'm OCD, and so I like to have things in a very like meticulously made way. And so for me, it would stress me out if I didn't have a rating on something, if I didn't have it logged somewhere. And for me also, not necessarily for you, but I have a Patreon account where people recommend books to me to read, and they get to pick like books, and I spin a raffle and they get to win. And so I always like to have a list of all the books that I've read, so I can go recommend me a book I haven't read. Here's all the books I have, and I link my Goodreads account. Have you ever tried writing a novel? No, and I never will. I was born legally blind, so ebooks have been a godsend for me. Nice. Vision's 2020, but ebooks let me pick gigantic font and carry around a library that weighs half a pound. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm big into using gigantic font too, because I like putting my Kindle kind of further away from me, and blasting up the size. Too bad they made the Kindle reading app experience crap. Yeah, it's not good. E-ink Kindles look awful with my font size as tiny as they are. I can see that. Who are my favorite booktubers? Okay, so I don't watch a lot of Booktube. I just don't have enough time in the day. So I really, I know it seems like hypocritical, and I hear from people saying like they feel like obligated to watch a bunch of Booktube stuff. I don't. I maybe watch 30 minutes of Booktube a week at most. I like to pop on lives and watch people live because I don't like scripted content. I don't like edited content, and lives are where I can get that kind of stuff. But my favorite people, no offense to anybody when I say this, but Books with Genghis Khan is one of my top favorites. Shelf-centered, Bryce over there is one of my top favorites. Those are the two that I will routinely kind of pop into and check out what kind of stuff they're doing. I love their stuff. I'm looking down my list real quick on Booktubers. Right now, I really like Zach Taylor. He's not got a lot of subs. I think he's got like under 1,000 subs. I also really like what's the name of the channel of Dan's book? Is it Dan? Dan, I'm so sorry, man. What's your Booktube channel? But Dan's reading Malazan. He's gonna not be happy with me if he's watching this. Dan explores books, but he's doing like a Malazan read, and I watch a lot of his stuff. Do you ever pick up random recommendations from Goodreads algorithm? No. I used to, not anymore. Bunch of Dune sequels. Got it. I don't get that at all. I mean, when I'm overpowered in a video game, I feel like I earned it, and they show channel before and stuff. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like I love Crusader Kings. If you've never heard of it, it's a game where you can pick any person in the world or in Europe or a lot of Asia and Northern Africa. And you can be that person that owns a country or a city and you try to enlarge and become like emperor of the world if you can. But once I start steamrolling people, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. I like to build power. I don't like to have it. Favorite genre of video games? Strategy and simulation. And platformer. I've read The Lion Son of the Forest. It's good. Character development. Nice. Never heard of it. I'll have to check it out. Been following since August of last year, and you basically tripled my TBR. Good. People do this to me all the time. My TBR gets enormous. I feel like it's only right that I inflict that pain on everybody else. Ryan, what's up, Ryan? What made me start my channel? I mentioned that a little bit ago, but I just wanted to make something a little different, and I felt like I could do it. I'm on the last book of The Witcher. Hopefully you enjoy The Last Witch. The Last Witch is actually my favorite book in the series. I have a theory that I'm going to like the episodic ones more than the novel type ones, which is so different than most of what I read. I mean, I normally like big chunky stuff, but for some reason I've had that vibe that I'm going to like the ones that are like little short stories. Man, you are devouring gigantic books. Thanks. I love big books. Bigger the better, usually. I'm reading one of the Wandering Inn books I'm going to be reading soon is like 1,700 pages. It's going to be nuts. Okay, not for me. Also, you should read Project Hail Mary. Yeah, dude. Okay. I'm going to read it. Although, so Ryan mentions to me, this is probably like the 15th time he's told me to read Project Hail Mary. And like, I want to read it, but then my brother told me not to read it. He told me it's okay. It's not as good as some other stuff. So I don't know. I promise I'm going to read it, but it's probably not going to be this year. But you know what, for you, Ryan, is I'm going to throw Project Hail Mary in next month's Patreon raffle or vote. I do a vote every month on Patreon, and people can vote on what book they want me to read. I put 5 books. I'm going to throw Project Hail Mary in there for you and put it in the power of the people. I don't read any visual novels. I never have. I don't know that I ever will. Everyone tells me to, and I'm conflicted on it because I don't like imagery like that. I don't like comic books. Although I do like illustrations sometimes in my books, but few and far between. I also feel like I'd be hypocritical because I don't love the direction a lot of the bigger booktubers have gone, where they're doing like visual novels nonstop. I'm like, go read fantasy books, like in the way they're intended to be. So I don't know. Maybe not anytime soon. Any plan to read Book of the New Sun? Yes, I do have a plan to read Book of the New Sun. It is on my. It's not on my TBR. It's on my long-term TBR, not on my short-term one. Congrats on 10K subs. What are your favorite top 3 Malazan Book of the Fallen books? Yeah. So number 1 would be the last one, The Crippled God. Number 2 would be Memories of Ice. Number 3 would probably be The Bone Hunters. You have any tips for a first-time reader? Yeah, use the PowerPoint. There's a PowerPoint. It rocks. It does everything. If you want something more than that, there's this reread that was done on Tor where they go like chapter by chapter. They don't spoil things in the first half of the reread, but it's super helpful to like, what did I miss? Because it doesn't make sense to make content most people aren't going to watch. Yep, that's why. Could you share links to the Kindle holder and clicker setup? That sounds like a dream. It's in my video description. On all my videos, scroll down, you'll see it there. Awesome mayor story. Okay. Congrats. What's up, Dan? Oh, shit. I was talking about Dan's channel, and I messed up, and he's here. It's Dan. I'm sorry, bro. Have you jumped on the Steam Deck craze yet? It's changed gaming for me. I have not. I don't need a portable Steam thing. When I'm away from the computers, I am reading Kindle. So, but I am Steam all day. I've got many hundreds of Steam games. Congrats, Matt. Love your honest reviews. We don't always align. I would hope not. How are our Chester recommendations? You haven't let me down yet. Awesome. Thanks, Bit. Hey, Matt. What's up, Ashley? Ashley, frequent commenter. Why is Holden the only bad character in The Expanse? I don't know. Is he? I've only read 3 Expanse books, so I can't really speak for it. Have you read We Are the Dead? I have not. Have you played Mount & Blade? Yes, I love Mount & Blade. I actually was thinking about Mount & Blade in my head when I was talking about my favorite games, but it didn't quite make it. I'm going to be replaying the second Mount & Blade game here soon. I've got a spreadsheet like I do for everything in life on games I'm going to be playing soon, and my reread of Mount & Blade will be soon. I love it. Love it. Left my Kindle Oasis in my hot car, and now I just opened it. It won't start. Oh, shit. That is a nightmare. Are politicians as bad as they're portrayed in fantasy? Not in my experience. So I don't work on the national level. I work at the state and the local level, and they're just normal people. Normal people. There's some bad ones every now and then, but 90% plus of them are just normal, good people that are just trying to do their best. What book surprised you the most? Surprised me the most? I don't know. That's a great question. Like, surprised me in a bad way, I will say, was the 5th season. I thought it would be a 5. It was the bottom of the ones. Nearly finished Gardens of the Moon. Really liking it. Not blown away, but maybe that's because there's not much going on. We'll definitely continue. Yeah, I mean, like, the first book's the worst. So if you like it, at least passably, I think you're going to be good with the series. Dear Matt, why am I always confused? Because we're laughing and lying at you, Dan. Laughing and lying and laughing. Is there any booktubers you don't like? Yeah, there are. A lot of them. I dislike a lot of booktubers. I will not say who they are because I don't like to be rude. I try to be a nice person is when I can. But yeah, I dislike a lot of booktubers. I'm sure in real life they're good people, but like I just don't like the content they're putting out. I don't like their energy. I don't like people that are over the top when they're just like trying to be overly excitable. I don't like booktubers that are like so mellow that they're putting me to sleep. I like authentic, personable people. I like people that will make me want to go grab a beer with them. And if you're too excitable, I would not want to hang out with you. And if you're super calm, I would not either. I want somebody kind of like what I view is like a normal person. I also don't like booktube channels most of the time when they get too big and they make a career out of it, because then they're just making content that's not my thing. Like if I was them and that was my career, I'd probably do the same thing. But it's not my career, so I can judge it away. Probably won't answer Legend. You're wrong, Alex. Do you prefer reading books from unfinished series so you can theorize and participate? I enjoy both for different reasons. I do like the hype. I don't know about like the theories thing, although I do kind of enjoy that. I'm a very patient reader. I don't mind at all reading an unfinished series and knowing, like, even like A Song of Ice and Fire. There's so many thousands of books out there. I don't care. It's like, take your time, whatever. If you don't finish it, whatever. I do like getting wrapped up in the hype. I like reading a new book as it comes out and everybody's reading it at the same time. Everyone's talking about it. I love that. I also love finished series for the obvious reason. Am I almost caught up with the comments? Kind of. All right. Are you going to read the first Binding sequels? No, I am not. And the only way I read it is if somebody puts it on my Patreon and it wins. But that would be the hate read of all hate reads. Because I would hate it more than the first time. Because the first time, I at least had optimism going into it. This one would not. Did you see Rocchio's Kickstarter? I did, and I bought in on it. I got the $100 edition with the $50 slipcase. So I'm all in. I'm number 86, I think. You're going to absolutely love Project Hail Mary. Thanks. I got to try it. All right. All right, everybody. I get it. I get it. Book Sounds the only thing I like more than Malazan. Nice. I hear that from people. I definitely hear that. Can't stay for long. Just got home. What's up, man? Another awesome channel you guys should check out. Thanks for saying hi. New to the channel, liked and sub. Thanks, Steve and Amanda. Are you both watching together? I just read Name of the Wind and I loved it. How do you think The Wise Man's Fear compares to the first book? I think you said it was better. I did say it was better. So when I first read it, I didn't like it as much. I gave the first a 5, and then I gave the next a 4.5. There's some weird stuff in the second book. Like there's this weird extended sex scenes with like this fairy. It feels really out of place. And then there's some also weird sex scenes later on in the book. All the sex stuff is just, it feels off. I don't mind sex in my books, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And that was the wrong way. But it's not in the books as much as I remembered it. Like when I finished it, when I looked back on it before I read the second one again, I would have been like, oh yeah, there's like 200 pages of this weird fairy stuff. It's like 60. Outside of that stuff, I liked it more because the first book had a lot of buildup. The second one just jumps right into it. And so I did like the second one more than the first by a little bit. Do you read the classics? I do not. Congrats, community has really grown rapidly since you started the channel. It has. I appreciate it. And you are part of it. Thanks so much. How relevant are an author's views to you? Would you read and review a book by someone who's openly racist or sexist? Do you think there's a good way to go about it? I for sure would, because I don't look into authors before I read them. So I have a policy when I read, and that I want to go into a book totally blind without any prejudice. I don't even read the back cover. I don't know squat about a book before I read it. Like people are talking about Project Hail Mary right now. I'm going to read it someday. What do I know about Project Hail Mary? I know that it's written by Andy Weir. I know that it's called Project Hail Mary. And I know that the cover looks like there's an astronaut on it. That's all I know. And that's all I will know until I finish the book. So I would never know if an author was racist or sexist. I don't care. I consume media without thinking about that kind of thing. I don't like to go through life with this lens on what can I like and what can't I like. It would be too stressful. It would be, maybe that would make me a better person. But I just don't like to, even though they're judging people, I don't like to judge people. And like, I also don't trust a lot of info out there. Like it's really easy to call people racist and sexist. And is it true? Maybe, probably. But I just don't like to make those assumptions. And, I love sports, for example. Am I going to not follow and enjoy an athlete on my team if they have done some shady things in their past? No, you're not my moral guidance. I'm watching you because you catch a football. I'm reading your books because you can write a dang good book. Now, maybe that makes people upset at me or thinks that like that's not a good way to go about life. But I like to separate, for lack of a better term, the art from the artist. It's just how I am. The Wise Man's Fear is vastly superior to Name of the Wind, and it's pretty sure Matt feels that way. Yep, agreed. Also, congrats. Thanks, man. Do you think Grimdark is dying? I think it is. I don't think it's dying because I think dying implies that it will die. I think it is waning in popularity. I think things go in cycles, and I think Grimdark it reached kind of a peak for a little bit. And I also think Brandon Sanderson has a lot to do with this, and that's nothing against the guy at all. I love his books, but he's the king of fantasy right now, and he doesn't write that. And so now we're going to get a lot of copycats, and people are going to want to get into the genre for the first time, being like, I want more of that. And that's not it. Do you read outside of fantasy? I do read some historical fiction and some sci-fi, but that is it. I used to read a lot of, not just historical fiction, historical nonfiction is a lot of what I read. But I'm not, I would enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it as much. So I'm going to stick to the stuff I like more. I I know you weren't a fan of The Stand, but if you consider Swan Song, I've not, but I might give it a go at some point. How many gigs do you think is the best for Kindle Paperwhite? 1632. How many books can they hold? So I'm not a great person to ask because I don't buy my books on Kindle. I rent them. And so I could probably be good with 1 gig because they're not staying on my Kindle very long. So I would say 16, but they can hold a ton. Mike over here being one of the most honest. Mike, everyone calls me Mike, but I'll take it. I'm Mike. Hey, everybody. It's Mike's Fantasy Book Reviews. I second giving Swan Song a try. All right. That's 4 people now that have said that. Is there a series that you regret because of how bad the last book was? I think what you're implying is like a series that I got into and then it sucked partway through. It's a good question. I think the only series I could really say that about was Dresden Files. I read like 11 Dresden File books and I don't like it. But I don't know about the last book. I don't think I ever really liked it. I just kept reading it for some reason. I think maybe like Rhaenyra could be in that because I liked him and I liked him and I liked him. And then at a certain point, I just started hating him. And like the newest series, Nolan, nah. Well, the books that are super memorable that aren't necessarily your favorite. I don't know. I mean, I kind of view memorable and favorite in the same kind of realm. So yeah, I don't know if I would say that. Matt, will you be reading Sword of 𝐒𝐨𝐽? Yes, I am planning on reading it relatively soon. Yes, I will be reading it in July. Do you listen to audiobooks while reading for every book? No. I very rarely listen to audiobooks while I read. I read alone. I listen to audiobooks as their own thing. Like while I'm driving or playing video games. I separate out from the artist. Yeah, that's the term I'm going for. Me too. I don't think Matt will like Sword of 𝐒𝐨𝐽. I've heard a lot of mixed things on this. I've heard some people say I'm going to love it. I'm hearing some people say I'm going to hate it. I feel like I'm going to love it, but what do I know? I don't know anything about it. Don't look into things for Project Hail Mary first. Too many reviewers spoiling things on it that ought not to be. Best go in blind. Good advice. I will definitely do that. Congrats. Thank you. Hey, Matt, love the channel. Who writes better prose, Abercrombie or Martin? Abercrombie. Martin does a lot of food descriptions. Like he gets overly worried sometimes. When I think of Abercrombie, I do think of prose as a high level thing for him. When I think of Martin, I think of plot. Should I read Wheel of Time or Stormlight first? Stormlight, for sure. Would you recommend reading them at the same time or breaks? They're too epic. I would not read them at the same time. Are you going to do a stream like this again? Yeah, I'll do it. I feel like I do one every month or two. What are my favorite wars or periods in history? Okay, so I'm a very big World War II buff. I have obsessively read World War II books. I've got a lot of them on my bookshelf. So all aspects of that war I have read obsessively. I do like early American history, Revolutionary War time period, Civil War time period. And I'd say those are probably my most read and interesting time periods. No short story should be more than $8. Change my mind. I won't change your mind. I don't think they should be over $5. I'm torn on Grimdark. I love 5 Warrior Angels, but that's largely because of Liz Hen. Yeah, Liz Hen's so good. I typically think life sucks enough to be mired in depressing stuff when entertaining myself. Yeah, it's a good. See, I'm a very positive person. I'm a very happy person. My life is very good. I mean, I live the best life. You know, like my wife is like the greatest person of all time. My kids are the best kids of all time. I've got a job I love. I live in an awesome community. Like I couldn't be living a happier life. And so I love reading dark stuff because it's different than what I'm used to. So so yeah, if you think that things are negative in life, I could see Grimdark not being good. Have you heard of Dungeon? Yeah, I just talked about that a little bit ago. I'm going to be reading it. I have the first book, and I will be reading it relatively soon. And I'm super hyped about reading it. I'm very confident I'm going to love it. I'm going to do audio. How many hours a day do you read? About 3-ish, maybe 4. Unless you're reading comic books or manga. Okay, that's to somebody else. If we never consumed content from people we disagree with, we wouldn't consume any at all. Well said. Well said. I also think that like standards change over time too. So like, you know, I feel like a lot of authors today are going to be holding views that are going to be very, very distasteful to people in 100 years. And like, should we then not view that content? I mean, should I not view heroes of the past in a positive light because the views they had at that time? Yeah, that's not me. Personally, I do have a little bit less tolerance for graphic content, but there's something about the potential in dark books that sometimes lets moments shine the brightest in contrast. Yeah, you're going to get that put to the limit, put to the test, Dan, in a future Malazan book. So strap yourself in. What determines if you buy a physical copy versus Kindle? I buy Kindle. Well, I don't buy anything. I go library, but I go Kindle. I don't do physical. I used to. And then my wife said, you know, you can't keep putting bookcases up, right? Like, you're done. So I said, okay, maybe I should look into a Kindle then. And then I never turned back because once I got into Kindle, there are so many things that I love about a Kindle over a book. Like I could rip off like 20 things that I like about Kindle more than regular books. So I will never buy a regular book again. The only way I will if somebody sends me one, and that's the only way I can read it. Bound and Broken feels like a holy pairing of Aragon and Banished Lands. I hope you continue with it. I am. I'm going to be reading it soon. Abercrombie's prose is blunt yet beautiful. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Congratulations, currently reading Wall of Storms. Awesome. I hope you like it. I hope you like it half as much as I did, because then you will love it. As a John Gwen fan, I'm super excited to dive into the Bound and the Broken. Awesome. You should go on Chatting with Nuts. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not much of a collaborator. You know, my time is hard to find time for these things. And like, I'm West Coast. Most people are East Coast or elsewhere. And so it's hard for me to sync up at the right time. And like, I'd much rather spend time with my family than I would going and chatting on some channel. And so like, I don't know that you're going to find me really going on other channels. It's just not for me. And like, I get that a lot of people are like into this collaboration stuff. And like, it's just, that's not why I made my channel. And I have more fun doing other things. Abercrombie has better characters. Grimm has better prose. Yeah, I can see that. Cillian, are there any series that you would definitely recommend to read before tackling the big series? Dive on in. Dive into the big ones. Any other favorite characters from the first original and trilogy over Logan and Glocta? Wait. No. Those are the two. Those are the two. Have you considered reading? No, I have not. I didn't really know that he's written much more than The Witcher, so I'll have to check it out if I like The Witcher. Hot take: through 6 books, Giselle is my favorite character in First Law, and Glocta isn't in my top 3. That's a hot take. Although Giselle's great. I do love Giselle, but yeah, that's a super hot take. I'm almost catching up here. Are we going to end the stream early? We'll see. Hit me up in the comments and questions if you want this to keep going. How do you plan out your TBR so many months in advance? I just do. I mean, I'm very meticulous in the way that I write stuff out. So I like to have a plan. And so I have all these books that I want to read. Then I'll slip them to the bottom of my TBR and I'll just plan stuff out. So I just love planning stuff out. I'm very obsessive over it. Every time I add a new book to my library, I take a step back and admire its shelves. Yeah, that's a big reason to like physical books. Kvoth or Randall Thor. I mean, they're both kind of neckbeardy. They're both. I don't love either of those characters. I do love both the books, but I don't love both those characters. Tied, I guess. I think Grimdark is best paired with either satire or solid cautionary tale. I think Abercrombie's. Yeah, well said. Well said. Oops, I skipped one. Who do you think is the best character in fiction, and why is it Fitz? Fitz. I just love growing. I love the growing with the character, and going from 16 books. I mean, not 16 with one character, but going through 9 books, following a character from him being a little child to being an old man is an experience that I love so very much. What do you hate about Baez? I don't hate anything about Baez. I love Baez. I adore Baez. I think he's a kind of evil bastard, but I love the guy. At what age did you start reading books? And have you ever had longer periods of time that you didn't read books? So I've been reading fantasy books since I was very young. I read Redwall as a kid. When I was like 8, I got into it. But I've been obsessively kind of reading since I was like 6. I did stop reading books through college. I just didn't have time anymore. But then I picked it up right afterwards. Were you a fan of Gwent in The Witcher 3? I think a lot of the books would make a good game. I loved Gwent. I spent dozens of hours playing Gwent in Witcher 3. And just the other day, I was thinking about playing Witcher 3 again sometime soon. And I kept thinking like how fun it would be to play Gwent again. But I didn't like the Gwent game. Like the standalone game. I liked it in Witcher 3. Gorst will always be my favorite. Gorst is awesome. If there was a thing that you could change in your almost 5-star book series, what would it be in order to be a 5 stars? It's a good question. In my almost 5-star reads, so I'd say like, I've got some like 4.5s that I've read. Let me find one of those. Okay, I'll pick one. Dust to Dreams, the second to last Malazan book, I gave a 4.5, but it didn't really have a good ending. I find that a lot of my 4.5s are like really good, really good, and then the ending just kind of flubs. So stick the landing, I'd say. Do you believe that Robert Jordan could write a Stormlight book as well as Sanderson wrote a Wheel of Time book? Absolutely not. I mean, what makes Sanderson stand out is how well he planned things out and like was able to hit them in the right order. Like Robert Jordan extended things out and like he planned things out, but not as meticulous as Sanderson did. So no, I do not think he could have. There's a stark difference between an author writing dark stuff and an author glorifying violence. I agree completely. I refuse to read a book that glorifies violence. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I don't know that 5 Warrior Angels glorified it. I mean, I think they were all horrible events that you're not supposed to look fondly on. But I can see where you're coming from. I know you talked about why you do mostly spoiler-free reviews, but I'd be interested to hear your complete spoiler thoughts on some of your favorite books like Banished Lands and Malazan. Yeah. I got to figure out how to do that. Have you read books of Tad Williams? Yeah, I read Memory, Sorrow, Thorn. Is that no? That's the series, the Dragonbone Chair, and I did not like it. I DNF'd it. It was just really slow, really slow, and it didn't grab me enough to keep me going. What's the last book that for whatever reason stumbled you into a reading slump? Never happened. I've never been in a reading slump. The only times I've ever not been reading books is when I've been going to college. But I've never felt that way. Have you read the Murderbot Diaries? I've read all of them. And my favorite one is the standalone, is the novel one. I don't remember the name of it. Is it? What is it? Is it Artificial Condition, or is that the first one? I don't know. Whatever the novel form was my favorite. Favorite Malazan character. What do you think of 𝐂𝐪𝐮𝐢𝐩𝐽? I'd say my favorite character is probably Bug and 𝗟𝗶𝗹 and 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝐻𝑇. I like the funny characters. I love 𝐂𝐪𝐮𝐢𝐩𝐽. And I'm pretty confident that on a reread, I'm gonna be digging 𝐂𝐪𝐮𝐢𝐩𝐽 more than ever. Man, Fitz is so dumb, but I love him. Yeah, he's a dumbass. It was rough reading Farsi as he wouldn't shut up about Molly for a single solitary fucking second. Yeah. Yeah. Although, like, that's real life, right? I mean, like, when I was that age, there were some girls that I wouldn't shut the hell up about. It's real life. Do you think that sometimes side characters are the true stars? I often think that. I think that more often than not. Is it weird that I think Trust of the Emerald Sea is Sanderson's best book? I don't think that's weird. I don't agree, but I don't think that's weird. I mean, I loved Trust of the Emerald Sea, and it's different. Yeah, it's definitely not a shock. Punk Rock Cereal, what's up, man? Thanks. Appreciate it. My favorite non-science fiction books? A lot. My best is Lonesome Dove. Lonesome Dove is my favorite non-science fiction book for sure. I love your everything you need to know about videos. What series do you have next on deck? I don't. I did the ones that I want to do. I don't have any on deck. I mean, if I'm looking through my list of completed series, I'll probably do the Banished Lands, and combining Faithful and the Fallen and Of Blood and Bone. So I'll say that. Oops. Is it just me, or did the Jerusalem Parts and Gardens remind me of Guards? Not you at all. 100 million% you're right. Spot on. You should Ash and Sand. Have you tried it? Is that the one by Richard Nell? It's somewhere on my list. It's high up on my to-be-read list. So like my to-be-read list is built out on a book-by-book basis until November 18th. And then this is like really high up on the ones that are going to get added to the end of that. So I'd say I'm going to read it within this year. Can you rank the 4 Stormlight books? Yeah, easy. 2, then 1, then 4, then 3. Where do you think 5 will rank? I think 5 will be the best. I think 5 is going to cap out. We'll wrap up a story, like a big storyline. And I think Brandon writes great endings. And, I think Brandon writes great endings all the time. I think Mistborn ended awesome. I think that each of his books end awesome. So to end this epic scope of what's going to happen, I think is going to blow me out of the water. Have you read Guy Gravity? Okay, I have. I read, what's the Tigana? Wasn't a huge fan, but I listened to it on audio. I think I need to try him again and read physical book. Thanks for doing this live show. I appreciate your wife being a good sport about you doing this. Congratulations on your channel. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Do you prefer a stronger beginning or a stronger ending? Ending, for sure. It would be very hard for me to go 5-star to a book that started out hot and ended weak. It would be very easy for me to do it that started weak and ended hot. So ending all day. Dust of Dreams had the most epic last 10 pages of books I've ever read. It's a shame Erickson cut it short. At least that's how I felt. Yeah, I mean, the reason is because Erickson brought like a 2,000-page book to his publisher for the last book. It was supposed to be 9 books, I think. And they said, no, we can't even bind something that big. It's going to be 2. So that's why Dust of Dreams ends weird. It's not supposed to be done there. Thomas, what's up? Have you tried Red Rising? I have. I read 4 of the books. I liked the first trilogy. I thought the ending of the first trilogy was amazing. I did not really enjoy book 4. But I've told that book 5 kind of gets back on board. So I said I wouldn't continue, but I'm probably going to go back on that. Thanks for the game. I'm out. Greetings from Netherlands. Thanks, man. Have a good night. Would you ever do a video like X character versus Z? Who's the best and who does it best? Not really. I don't think that's my kind of jam. Tell Rocky we need the anatomically correct Hadrian statue. Okay, yeah, I'll let him know. I'm Team 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐢𝐚 in First Law as well, getting some of the vibes from a character in Midnight Tides. Yeah, big vibes. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who didn't enjoy Swan Song. All right. What do you think will write the next Wheel of... Who do you think will write the next Wheel of Time, Stormlight, Malazan, etc.? I think 𝗂𝐪𝐿 is writing it right now. Clothbound or leatherbound? Leatherbound all day. I don't have many of them, but all day, every day. I believe that you would love trying it out reading the Halo books. Oh, never had that suggested. Is there a video game series other than The Witcher that you feel like trying? I mean, yeah. I mean, I have video games that are on my list. So, like, I'm a cheapskate. So I put games that I want to buy on isthereanydeal.com, and I wait till they hit a price point, and then I'll get them as soon as they reach that price point. I mean, the one that I really want to try that I have not is Cyberpunk. I've been just kind of waiting for it to get lower in price and for the bugs, or some of the bugs, to get worked out. But I am looking forward to reading that, to playing that game. Burn is an excellent example. I always love side characters more. I was always a Boromir fan over Aragorn. Yeah, great points. Do you ever get reading fatigue? I do not. Just don't get it. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? No, I don't care about covers at all. In fact, I take out, for my physical books, I take off the covers. I go plain. I don't care about covers at all. That's one of the best things I've ever read. First half is nice. Deathmatch. Who wins? 𝐒𝐪𝐿 versus Nine Fingers. I think Nine Fingers wins if he goes into Hulk mode. Are there any Wheel of Time books that are better than any Stormlight book? Yeah. I thought Oathbringer was a 4.5, and I gave a lot of Wheel of Time books a 5 out of 5. So, but I don't think there's any Wheel of Time books better than the first two Stormlight books. Do you think the A's should move to Vegas? Yeah. Get it. We don't need more teams in the Bay. Nope. Don't like Brighton. Well, I love Wandering In. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's wonderful. I think you should get into it. And it's free on the website, so check that out. What did you think of the very abrupt way that Mother of Learning ended? I loved it. I thought it was a good ending. It was abrupt, but I thought it was a very good ending. Crouching 10K, thanks. Sun Eater series, a good place to start. It's a great way to start sci-fi. It's a wonderful bridge into sci-fi because it's like sci-fantasy. So yeah, perfect. They split Mother of Learning Arcs 3 into 2 books. Yeah, that's true. The inside sleeve of a hardback cover is a good bookmark, if nothing else. That's true. I just hate the covers. Game of Slice never, so come on. I wasn't a huge fan of Tigana either. There was a battle scene and I never found out what word Baird said. Yikes. Join the Discord to talk about spoilers. Yeah, that's where I talk spoilers. So book 3 just kind of ends in the middle of a large arc. Book 4 did come out recently, though. Yeah. Wait, that book behind your back below Tom Clancy looks like a cover from Dark Souls. No, I haven't read it. It was just sent to me. I thought the cover looked cool, but I have no idea what it's about. Any Stephen King reading plans? Yeah, I'm going to be reading book 2 of The Dark Tower soon. And then if it's not good, I'm done with Stephen King forever. And I'm all caught up with comments. I ran out of water. I'm going to finish out here. So thank you all for joining with me. I appreciate it. It's been super fun kicking it with you. I'll have to do this again soon. If you're not hanging out with me on Discord, you are missing out. Come join. It's super fun. I'm on there all the time. It's super fast growing. There's like 150 plus people that are joining every month. It's awesome. That's where I'm at all the time. So come check it out. I would love to hang out with you. If you need a link, it's in the description of all my videos. Come hang out. I want to spend time with you. So thank you all much. I appreciate you spending time with me. And as always, happy reading to you.